I was just reading a report that 54% of Kiwis who responded to it basically said that they regret their career choice, which is pretty scary because we know that we're going to be working a lot longer, and the report actually identifies that people agree with that, and about 40% think that they'll still be working into their 70s. So it's pretty crazy that we are potentially working in jobs or doing work that we don't like doing. Now, I'm very lucky that I do like what I do, and so it's hard for me to understand data like this or why people would stay. But basically, the report or the data then goes on to say that most people aren't going to do anything about it, which is just humans. It's crazy, right? So 54% are saying they regret their career choice, and 1 in 2 of those people, it's due to not being paid enough. Now, I kind of think like this is going to come across quite harsh, but when you take a job, you are you're choosing safety and comfort, and you then get told by the market what your value is. And that can be a really hard pill to swallow, like it was for me. And often I talk to people in my industry who might be working towards being in a partner or as an accounting firm and stuff. I'm like, hey, that's probably like a non-monetary financial benefit that they're dangling in front of you that might not even happen. Like, how are you going to feel if it doesn't happen? Anyway, the point being that I think we get tricked into society to think that as an employee that has gone to uni or gone and like is good at something, where like, well, I should just get paid heaps of money. Of course everybody's going to want more money, well, most people, and so then they're going to vote that they're not getting paid enough. We probably always feel like a lot of people think that they don't have enough, but to break that cycle, you've got to do it yourself. You can't just rely on your employer or the government to to increase your wage, because the true minimum wage is zero, and that's not having a job. Now, at the moment, I'm seeing a lot of people basically not have a job because of liquidation. So people are blissfully unaware that the business that they are working for owes creditors and the IRD a stack of money. That business gets liquidated, and all of a sudden, you're not complaining about not getting paid well enough in that job, and a job you don't like. It's like, you got to figure it out. You don't even have a job. So then what are you going to do? So it's funny how what we think is a problem changes when it really matters to us. So if you don't like what you're doing, how can you make it really matter to you to want to change? Now, part of why I do think that we don't get paid enough, and like a lot of people probably don't, right, for what it is that they want to do, but a lot of us, we're probably feeling like wages haven't moved in line with housing inflation. So we look at prior generations and what they've had, and we think, well, we would like to be able to achieve what they've had, but that's out of reach because of the cost of housing and things like that. So I think there will always be people voting in a survey that, hey, they don't get paid what they should. But if you want to get paid what you think you should, you need to go to the market and ask for it. And you need to be the person who can command getting paid that. Your employer or the government aren't simply just going to come and do it for you, unless you're on the minimum wage, and then they'll slowly bump that up. But then obviously all costs and stuff are going to go up too, and then you're going to spend more of your paying for the things that have just gone up in price. But anyway, that is something to think about, and it can be confronting. But I remember in my life when I learned that, okay, my employer isn't just going to walk in one day and be like, mate, we love you, here's an extra 50 G's, I'm just going to give it to you in cash. It doesn't happen. And what happens for most of us is once we get paid a certain amount, then we just start to live within that as well. And so then we need to get paid even more again, because we just move to the income that we're earning. Anyway, that aside, I guess what the really worrying thing is that there are so many people that aren't happy with what they're doing, and we don't want an unhappy workforce or country, because it's not going to be great for productivity, for mental health, and all those sorts of things. So I think we need to encourage more people to take ownership for not liking things in their life, and not just kind of make it the employer's problem or the government's problem or the industry's problem or whatever it may be. If you don't like what you're doing, think about when you're a kid. Now, if you didn't like what you're doing when you're a kid, and think about this if you're a parent, when I talk to a lot of parents these days, and I talk about like, oh, what do you think your kids are going to do? And they're like, I don't really care as long as they enjoy it. And like, oh, okay, that makes heaps of sense. Yeah, I'm just going to encourage them to do something that they really love and that they enjoy. And I love that. And that's like very common and normal advice to give to your kids when they're growing up. Now, when we're growing up as kids as well, when we say to our parents like, oh, I really don't like something, they'll make sure that we're not being shitbags, but then they'll basically be like, okay, well, if you really don't like it, well then, don't do it. But I want you to find something that you do like doing. Or that is what my family and parents encourage me to do, is to dig in and have resilience and grind through things that were tough that they knew were good for me. But at the same time, if I really didn't enjoy something, like swimming, for instance, where my sister did, it would be like, okay, well, that's not for you. But if you're going to play football because you do enjoy it, you need to dig in, like you need to take this seriously and make sure you go to training and things like that. And so I was encouraged to do the things that I enjoy. And I hope that I haven't just had this, one in a million upbringing, and that's not very common. I would have thought that's pretty common given what I hear from parents these days. I guess the risk could be that parents are, not doing the, hey, you need to dig into the things that you do like piece, and they're just like, oh, you don't have to do anything, then we'll sit at home and wrap you up in cotton wool. But I'm not a parent. So anyway, the parents that I do speak to, they're saying that they want their kids to do things that they like. But the strange thing is that people answering this survey are parents and people and adults. So in a working career. So once we get into a working career, then we sit there and we're like, oh, I don't like this. Oh, I regret my career choice. Oh, it's because I don't get paid enough. Oh, I'm not going to do anything about it. What the hell? Like, would you give that advice to your kids? No, and people aren't giving that advice to their kids. So why are they giving that advice to themselves? Now, part of it obviously is going to be probably financial entrapment, where they think, okay, well, I can't change careers, etc. But like, oh, life is long, and if people are then voting saying, oh, I'm going to be working even longer, it's like, well, then didn't you just give yourself the validation that you've still got time to figure out what it is that you like doing, and to if one or two people are saying, oh, they're not getting paid enough, well, like, then you can probably solve that as well. Like, there's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of ways to make extra money these days. We've probably never had it better in terms of ways to make extra cash. We could solve a lot of those problems ourselves, but people aren't actually willing to do it. So mind-blowing for me, as always, that people aren't willing to take action. I do think that there's still a massive subsection of the population that can't see that we've moved from an environment where we used to swap our labour and our doing and our hard graft for money, and that world's kind of broken now, where we are in an information transformation, and we're in an environment where skills and value, like those are the people that are getting paid well. And if you haven't been taught that, nor like drilled into you, hey, you need to understand that you need to go to where the money is and become valuable and have skills, and skills pay the bills, that if you don't understand that, it's going to continue to be hard, then yeah, you're probably going to struggle to see that something has to change. So I'm always banging on to people about, improving their own skills, figuring out where their value lies, what they could be doing that other people would find valuable and therefore pay for, because it's a great way to increase your income and get back more in control of, your situation. It could even be, if you're going to, a good example would be babysitting. Well, someone would say, okay, well, babysitting is a low value skill. Well, I don't think it is, because realistically, you can get paid a lot of money to do that if you are doing it for a person who needs it done in an emergency and urgently. They really trust you. You've got specialist skills around it, like maybe you're a nurse or a paramedic or something like that. You have kids of your own as well, so you understand what they're going through. You do it in a wealthy, affluent neighborhood. So those are ways that you can start to look and go, I'm not $28 an hour as a babysitter now. You could be $200 an hour. You could be $50. Oh, I'll do it for the drunk couple that always come home and then give me some cash at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? What can you do to become more valuable? But we don't teach people these simple tactics and skills. And so then we take jobs, We feel stuck in our careers because we were told, like, go down this path and do this for however long, and then we do that, including the study, and then we think, well, we better stay in this because there's the sunk cost of all the time and effort in my life that I've put into it. But life is long, and we want to do things that we enjoy, and we want to figure out, okay, where can I add value to society? How can I contribute? How can I help other people? Who's going to pay me to do that? And spend time doing it. We spend fucking years going to school and university and things like this, and having other people tell us the things that we know, or that they think we're going to need to know, and we go out to then try and make some money. But then as soon as you tell someone, like, oh, you need to think, like, what is it you enjoy doing? Like, those things that I just said, people are like, well, I don't know. And it's like, yeah, because you haven't spent any time trying to do it. Not even a few hours. Like, sit down for 4 hours and map it all out. 4 hours. Oh, I've got to go on TikTok for 3 of those instead. Or how am I going to do that? I don't have time to do that. These are like big questions that we need to ask ourselves in life, and they're very important. Otherwise, you turn out to be the 54% of people that regret their life choice and aren't going to do anything about it.